What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Carlotta Chat with Show. I have just got through watching the Tyra Banks America's Next Top Model documentary on Netflix. And my title, I feel, is so appropriate. Tyra Banks, somebody got to be the fake villain, the age of unaccountability. Okay. Because we are living in that age. You know what I'm saying? And while I found some things disturbing on uh, America's Next Top Model, one of the things I'll say here is this: uh, at that time, and it's still currently at this time, the modeling industry is known as a beast. We really want to talk about what we know, what we've heard about the. This is what we've heard on the low about the modeling industry. I mean, not to mention y'all talking about American Next Top Model, and you ain't talking about Tyra Banks being up in them Epstein files, but I digress. Asking for flights. Can she get a flight? Can she fly Jeffries? Anyway, listen, let me just say this, okay? The modeling industry is cracking me up how all these girls are showing up on this show. Talking about I was hurt, Tyra hurt me by talking about me. Tyra gave you a head start in an industry that is known to be brutal. I mean, I've heard so much about the modeling industry. You know, it's some girls right now in New York City beating the pavement since the time they was 12, 10 and 12 years old trying to be a model. Now 17, 18, 19. It's a brutal industry. And here Tyra Banks give y'all a show, a little ass show. I talk about this, and she give y'all, I don't know, a few weeks to make it where most girls don't even don the door. Well, what happened is we get a few, but they didn't take us seriously. Hell no, no excuse. Okay. You got a modeling contract where some girl out there walking the pavement that didn't get no modeling contract. So you a lot closer than her. I don't even get the fuck. I don't even understand what the complaint is. It was the late 90s or early 2000s. Please. And this industry has not changed much. It has not. Y'all not complaining about that industry that it has not changed much. They still have their elitist corners. And a lot of Black American models have been completely shut out the industry. They now going to get foreign models and stuff like that. I don't see too many Black American supermodels. Like Tyra Banks was probably the last one, wasn't she? I mean, really? Come on, are we serious? So the age of globalism is even replacing you don't see a lot of Black American models. So let me just say this. Tyra Banks came along with an idea at a time that she knew going to change that industry or shake it in some way, even if that industry didn't respect that because what they did, Tyra tried to take away a little bit of desperation. She gave you a few weeks of hazing instead of a few years of it, because Tyra went through the real thing, okay? When she was young and everything. And if you hear Tyra Banks, I always believe that Tyra Banks, because the rumor years ago, people said her, doesn't mean that Tyra didn't have any faults or things going on or stuff like that. But Tyra's mother was very protective of her during that modeling phase or that modeling industry. So she didn't get to go through sometimes what a lot of other women, or they would try to put her in. And so sometimes Tyra was an outsider. So you do understand that a lot of these modeling rings, allegedly, you could have ended up on Epstein Island. You could have ended up a hoe in Dubai. Oh, you're going to try to act like you're going to try to act like the modeling industry is completely innocent. Oh, that's not what real Tyra Banks protect. Them calling you a couple of little names, saying you're getting kind of fat, saying this and that. Listen, she provided you a few weeks. A few weeks. You girls had to go up in there a few weeks. She used a few weeks to jump you to the front of the line. No matter what, you could listen. I'm gonna tell you, even if they didn't take you seriously, you could have took that opportunity and did some things. Look at Eva. Look at Tyra Banks. Takara. Takara's not as much out there as she used to be, but it was some girls that other plus size model. It's some girls that jumped ahead and did use that. I didn't even get that one girl. She was beautiful. That one girl on the show with the braids, and she kept talking about, well, I didn't get no things because they didn't take America's Next Top Model seriously. And I said, nah, I think that was your attitude that probably did a lot of that. Yes, they may not have taken it seriously, but you go in there and you fight for your place. That's what Tyra was trying to teach y'all in some way. She wasn't going to just skate you through. They had a TV show. And in the reality TV show of things in the 90s, the early to late 2000s, the early 2000s, was it? Man, it was Rough Riders in reality TV. You had to be entertaining. And it was grown. Listen, y'all was grown ass women. Y'all knew they was going to be recording you. And I know how it is when you're young, you're so happy, you're excited, you're desperate and everything like that. And you make some mistakes and y'all made mistakes on television. And that's tough. But guess what, baby? You know what I'm saying? It could have been worse if you would have been walking in pavements of New York City. Like the one girl who was saying about her gap, the same black girl with the blood, it was talking about she was mad Tyra made her get rid of her gap and everything. Well, she gave you a choice. Go back to Arkansas or come get your gap done. Now listen, girl, I don't understand what you want. That's how it was back in them days. What if the agency would have said that to you? You would have been on a modeling agency shooting. They said, get that gap, rid of that gap. Or we ain't got no jobs for it. Tyra Banks is the fake villain in all of this, to be honest. Tyra was a black woman who was navigating a successful television show in the early 2000s that she could not have possibly known how big it was going to be. And did Tyra make a lot of mistakes? Of course, a lot of us would have. Did she make some mistakes? I didn't think it was a mistake when she told that girl off at the end, though. Yeah, that one girl where she said, because I think that Tyra really believed in her. And when you really believe in somebody, you don't want to see them throw away an opportunity. And like Tyra said, half of those girls, she let her pride get in the way. She didn't want to be embarrassed because she couldn't read Herman's shit. I can't pronounce some of that shit right now. I can't pronounce shit. I was calling Ellie Warner shit just a few minutes. Hell. Shit. And so you know what? But Tyra was telling her this little bit of embarrassment to get you to the next level. You about to win it all, girl. But she let her pride. She had been through too much, way too much. Came back to the show, been through too much to let a little thing like that, because there are other humiliation things that happen in the entertainment business and modeling. And Tyra was taking them girls really the easy way. In some senses, it was more protection with the way Tyra went through. You listen, I just played a clip last week, a couple of shows ago, of a lady talking about her going to get her friend who they was pumping drugs into. I said, let me find this. I'm not gonna let y'all talk. See, I know what I'm saying. Tyra Banks, don't be surprised why this is out right now either. Because my personal opinion is y'all trying to avoid talking about the model link to the Epstein files. But I digress. But I want y'all to hear this right quick. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. See, because we can't be sitting up here trying to talk about Tyra. Tyra, yes, could Tyra have done things better in terms of sensitivity a little bit? Yes, but that was a different time. There was no, and you weren't gonna get no sensitivity in the industry. What you want? Sensitivity, a little bit of a small lack of sensitivity for about 7 weeks, and you get your chance to go get into Wilhelmina models, or get your chance to get into get your pictures and your face seen all over the world. I mean, you are take at that time the industry was tough. It's still tough. That modeling industry is still crazy. Okay, so you could, hey, you could have took Tyra's little 7 weeks of hazing versus 5 years and maybe possibly getting yourself on the Epstein Island. But I digress. Child. let me find this here. What this lady said. Um, uh, okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, I want to play this because let me see. If I can find it. Hold on. Okay, this is what a woman said last week. I don't know if I can find the clip. I'm trying to find it because it's a good clip. Okay, is this it? Okay, so here's this video. Barbara Adler talking about Naomi Campbell. And I ain't trying to hate on Naomi. I'm just saying, she's out here talking about this America's Next Top Model. I find this rather interesting. That ain't none of y'all out here talking about this because this is explosive here. She said, and y'all worry about a little TV show, which I felt that Tyra, yes, she had to play to the game of the network, and that was sad. But at the same, also, I felt that Tyra was probably protected a lot of those girls, that you didn't have to go the harsh way, and you didn't see what it was for the girl who did the gap and the braids. I think the reason you didn't make it is because your attitude looked like you just was defeated from the moment you came in, and to me, you just want to get out of Arkansas. But I digress, you know what I'm saying? And not that I don't believe her that they didn't try to make it hard. Trust me, the modeling industry was going to try to make it hard on girls who came out of, because they didn't like being reshaped by Tyra Banks' show. Tyra Banks' show reshaped that industry, even though they hated it. They had to start looking at plus size models, regular size models. They had to start looking at themselves in the face about how they treated them girls and stuff like that. And they still really ain't took full accountability. That industry is still not taking full accountability. Okay. But for the industry itself and how so many girls, even top models, have to go through a lot of things. But what I just say is, when I say the age of lack of accountability, is because we're in the Z's, and I mostly say this to my Z's and late millennials. You are in an age where they are trying to get you to lack accountability. They are trying to protect you at all costs. Like it's nothing can be your fault. Let me just say this: at 19 and 20, yes, we make dumb mistakes. We make dumb decisions, but you got to take accountability for them when you get old. Yes, your frontal lobe ain't as developed, but a lot of y'all, at 19 years old, there's certain things you can't do. It's just like that girl that was on there. They talked about with her boyfriend. She knew she had a boyfriend. Now they gonna tape everything on that Tyra Banks show. They gonna tape everything, including you having sex with that other young man, because that's controversial. Now I don't know if she was trying to imply that young man raped her. It didn't sound like that. I never heard the word, which I say raped, whatever. But what I see, that's even us making up words now, so you won't be triggered. These are crazy. This is crazy. We are coming to a crazy time. And not that rape is a thing, but rape is a very real thing. We shouldn't be having to change the wording of it. It's strange, the trigger, these ideas of triggers and things like that. Listen, you gotta be able to, and I'm not talking about rape. I'm talking about take accountability for decisions you make. You can't blame it on I was 22 and they shouldn't have put me up to that. No, no, you know what? I was 22. I was dumb, and no, maybe they shouldn't have did it, but I didn't have to do it. I knew I had men at home. I mean, but I was young. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I, the lack of accountability. The lack of, I got to blame it on Tyra Banks for giving me an opportunity where I didn't have to beat the pavement and walk down the streets of New York hoping somebody would discover me. I had to beat the pavement going to each individual modeling agency only to hear them tell me a bunch of, nah, you too this. You tell you exactly what they told you in that few weeks on the show. They actually dumbed it down. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Okay? It's just a crazy, we live in a crazy world. A lack of accountability. But listen to this, okay? You were possibly spared for something like this young lady talks about. Wait a minute, hold on. Oh, wait a minute, I don't know if that's real. Let me give you that. Might be AI. Yeah. Okay. Now that's some of what people are saying. Yeah, I ain't talking about this. Hold on. But no, this I'm trying to find that model talking about her. I don't know if that's a real. Okay, I don't know if that's a real thing that they just showed or if that was an AI. Okay, so let me find I'm gonna find this real quick so y'all can see it. Because I don't know if that was an AI. Just to say that allegedly. Okay. But there was a woman. Okay. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it, child. I'm gonna find the original video because I don't think she said all of that. I don't know if she said all that. Uh, okay, okay. So I'm gonna let y'all hear what she had to say. Okay. This was original audio because I think y'all having the wrong conversation. To be pulling up an old show that was before your time, that is not as sensitive, where the times weren't as sensitive as they are today, where we've learned more and we've come to we've evolved more as a society, and for y'all to be pulling up and trying to make Tyra Banks some fake villain to avoid talking about Epstein files and what might have really been going on in the model, some of the parts of the modeling industry, is wild to me. That's wow. So, I mean, anyway, okay, let's take a listen, okay? No.
And what do you think she gets out of it? Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded. You get funded. She owns. How does she own an island being a supermodel?
How do you know she owns an island?
Yeah, she owns an island. Naomi knows a lot of these millionaire and billionaire guys, so she connects you to them. She will connect you. Oh, darling, so and so has the hotel, the Fontainebleau in Miami. I'll easily connect you. So they connect you, and then that's it.
And I don't believe Naomi was the only one. I don't believe, it's easy to pick out the black girl model, but I don't believe Naomi was the only person. But I do believe the story, allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. And so here was Tyra saying, you know what, I'm going to get back at the modeling industry and I'm going to make a situation where girls of all sizes, all looks, but we still in the modeling industry now. Because you're going to go on shoots, what these girls didn't recognize. See, that's what happens when you can't. In some ways, I'm going to say this. In some ways, that's what happens when you move too quickly through something. Tyra meant well by trying to give women a shot at moving, jumping to the front of the line, and she then knew that it was still going to be doors they couldn't get into because of it being America's next top model. But what I think Tyra's overall goal was to try to change the industry. But you don't give up just because they made you, if you believe that's what God called you to do, you don't give up because some of a reality show. To me, you still had a head start over most girls who weren't seen at all. And there were a number of things you could have went into after that. You could have bounced off of that in a number of ways. You know what I'm saying? And maybe at the hindsight 2020, you looking back at it and you feel like you couldn't have. But a lot of girls did. There's a few girls who did. And I think those are the special ones. Like, she was talking about Winnie Harlow, Eva, Takara, and a couple of other ones, the other big plus size model. I mean, yeah, they didn't take the nose for an answer. Okay. So my whole thing, and they spread themselves out to other industries. But my thing is, when you hear stuff like this, that was an industry that is rough, and it's still rough today. It's still not a great industry. It's still racist. It still puts out little skinny bitty girls, little skinny girls, little skinny girl. Listen, listen. This is the industry that Anna Wintour towered over for years. I mean, and with Vogue magazine. No, we're going to talk about the Scorpio, okay? Anna Wintour, The Devil Wears Prada, allegedly was about her. Okay? That's the kind of elitist, arrogant kind of attitudes that area has. And yet the majority of women they sell their clothes to are regular women, regular sized women, and we've allowed these kind of images to be put out to us, and not women of all looks and all faces. So I shout out to Tyra for coming through with a show that was going to break up all of that, whether they like it or not, and you liked it or not. And you think they liked it? You think they liked the fact that they had to put plus size models in there? I mean, there's a whole store right now. Y'all know it if I say it, that failed because they didn't want to make plus size clothing. They whole shit fell apart. I mean, unbelievable. And y'all getting mad at Tyra for bringing a little into her show some of those industry standards that were really lightweight compared to the real industry. And while y'all complaining about it on here, you little millennials, you need to complain about the industry now because it's still the same. It is. And they was probably networking y'all. They was probably hoeing through. It was probably whole networks going through the probably allegedly. Everybody can't be no model. So some of y'all they might have ran through Epstein Island. Shit. We ain't even heard all the stories yet. And we hear this lady up here talking about that one of the connectors was possibly Tyra Banks. I mean, not Tyra Banks. What's her name? Naomi Campbell. Y'all ain't talking about that. Y'all ain't. This is crazy. This is wild to me that the America's Next Top Model is the big thing being talked about right now, when it's a possibility that they was running whole networks through the modeling agencies and modeling places. Probably more than likely. How you think so? Man, I've been hearing about this about the modeling people for years. People used to, why do you think the modeling agency starts so young? Y'all better, I ain't gonna start, you know what? Allegedly. They want 10 and 12-year-olds. Because of their youthful look. Maybe because you got an industry of Epsteins. Some Epsteins. Okay. I've heard wild stories about Tyra Banks, in my opinion, actually gave women a chance to skip all of that in some ways and kind of pivot your way, even though she knew, because she knew this little elite group was gonna see. Tyra had already been through the ringer. And probably, when you hear Tyra mostly talk about her modeling, her career and stuff in modeling, a lot of times Tyra stayed out. Her mother and stuff tried to keep her out of that energy. She stayed away from a lot of things. She didn't have a lot of. I think I heard her say on one show how she didn't have a lot of industry people in the modeling world, so she probably didn't get hold out. Some women, a lot of models allegedly was getting hold out. The underbelly, the underside of that industry is crazy dirty. But y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all want to come on here and try to talk about Tyra Banks and her giving these women, a few women on these shows, a few women who could have did so much with themselves, with what Tyra did give them. And they on here complaining. Just a lack of accountability, in my opinion. Lack of accountability to oneself. Not Tyra will see. Tyra knew you a black woman. You do. Lack of accountability. She gave you a shot and possibly protected you, like I said, from Epstein Island. But no, Y'all want to complain about little shit. Stuff it was be and a lot of y'all watching this back like you watching this now on yo in the 2026 talking about, oh my God, this was in the context of the early 2000s, late 90s. A very different time, boo-boo. A very different time. First of all, the world, when you get into, when you made mistakes, you made mistakes. And there wasn't nobody to blame on it. Well, because Tyra knew I was coming, she knew that it was gonna make me. One girl just, I'm like, they worked hard for you. When Tyra yelled at that girl, and I don't like how nobody reacted to Tyra yelling at that girl when she yelled at her, talking about you done worked too hard, you done this and that. I feel Tyra was right on that. I don't think she said she thinks she went too far. I don't think you went too far because you're trying to save somebody's career, trying to save somebody's life. Somebody's, well, at that time that young lady had went through a lot. You trying to save her career. You see her has going big places, and that's how much Tyra was fighting for her. The rest of them didn't give a shit, but Tyra's like, girl, nah, you ain't gonna sit here and throw away this opportunity and not understand what it is. You could win this. And what you do with it is up to you. But nobody wants to take accountability about what they could have did with it. All them girls that was on there, all I heard was a lack of accountability. Doesn't mean that they didn't get some things done wrong, but that industry was far, far, far more rougher and still is today. And ain't none of y'all talking about it today in this context, let alone all the underground seedy shit that went through there and still do. I can't take it. All I kept hearing was, see, Tyra's the reason it shouldn't have ever happened. I just wanted to leave the show at that point. I just wanted to leave the show. Girl, she plucked that one girl out of Walgreens in Kansas City. Now I live in Kansas City. I know where them Walgreens is at. She plucked your ass from working at Walgreens. Put you on a television show. Now you didn't have to sleep with nobody. You didn't have to do a lot of stuff. You didn't have to do a lot of shit. Unless they was forcing you to sleep with somebody. But you didn't have to get drunk. You didn't have to do all of that. And yes, at 19, you got the scruples to know that you on television and there's certain things that the world is going to see. Now, at 19, do some of us we lack maturity? Yes. But it's your responsibility. But every girl didn't do that. You was the only girl on the set that end up in that situation. Now, if you're saying a man raped you, it's a different story, but that's not what it sounds like you're saying. It sounds like you was embarrassed because you had sex and your boyfriend found out that you cheated on him in a foreign country and you a young girl. But it sounds like you was embarrassed about that and you wanted to blame, well, I just didn't care about after that. Well, you said it right there. You didn't care about the experience after you made a mistake. It wasn't Tyra and them filming like they said they was gonna film. It was you not caring about your experience after that. You could have redeemed yourself. Hey, I'm a young lady. I'm heartbroken that me and my boyfriend are gonna break up. Obviously, there's some problems with us, but you know what? I'm gonna keep on in this. I'm gonna keep on because I think I can win it. And she could have won it all. But here she is, some 20-some years, 20-some years later on television, talking about, well, they couldn't, it was this, and it was, I couldn't look at it, and and I understand all that. I understand it, but I also understand that you don't understand the opportunity that you had. Where other girls in that house did understand that opportunity. The great opportunity of going from Walgreens, working at Walgreens in Kansas City in the late 90s, early 2000s, to going to New York City and being on a television show, America's Next Top Model. Now, were there girls on there that made mistakes and things like that? Yes, but you made a specific one where you saw, where you was more, I think you was more embarrassed by the boyfriend thing. But that's just a part of being young. To throw away your whole career from that point, that's on you, sis. Now, could Tyra then been more sensitive to the situation? They could have, but it was a time when reality TV was just starting. And these people did inform y'all that it was going to be a documentary and they was going to record everything. You know, I went to go audition for a reality TV show when I was in, like I was early 20s. And it was one of the nights, like start. It was like a starting over, like a coming to age reality TV show. It's supposed to be a nice one. Listen, baby, when I was in the audition, we sat at a table. I knew they had psychologists in there watching us. I knew that at that point, I'm not gonna do this. I knew, and I was young. I knew because I seen what was up. I said, listen here. They trying to find somebody with that's the most dramatic and got the most flair. Okay. And then people was, listen, some of them women was playing it up because they wanted it so bad. They wanted to be famous so bad. But I'm a Scorpio and I value privacy. Even though, you know, I have this show, but I value, like, I don't want y'all seeing me act no fool. I don't want to, I knew they was going to set up certain scenarios where they was going to trigger your ass or they was going to get your ass because that's the part of the game. I knew that. And hurried up and walked my ass out there. I remember the lady said, you don't want to sign up. I was like, nope. She was like, you don't want to be, you might get caught. No, child, don't worry about it. I ain't going to take it. So I don't believe these young women went in there. Yes, perhaps they didn't understand it all at the time, but it wasn't that anybody didn't explain it to them. And there, you know what? The world is a rough place. The world is not going to stop for you saying, well, they did explain it to me. I just didn't understand what was going on. And see, Tyra should explain it. No, you should have said, hey, you know what? They explained to me. I didn't understand the gravity of it. But looking back now, I do. And I could have done something different. What I could have done, not what Tyra Banks could have done different. Tyra Banks was doing business and trying to sell a TV show, and at the same time trying to change the industry. And listen, Tyra had to do some shit, and you was trying to be a model, and you had to do some shit. Now the question is to name your price. A lot of them girls went out there and didn't name no price. And a lot of them is quick riders. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes it ain't good to get something quick because you don't understand the value of working of not being pushed around easily. Like that girl with the braids they had on that show, and she kept talking about Tyra made her get rid of the gap. She was coming from Arkansas and stuff. To me, she won the whole thing, and then she was upset because she couldn't get no jobs. I said, well, partly because you didn't understand the idea of pushing. Tyra literally laid something in your hands, and it don't matter if they didn't want to. If they were saying we really don't deal with the America's next top model girl. The other white girl, she had them saying they didn't want to put her in because she was plus size, but she kept fighting. This black girl didn't sound like she kept fighting. She sounded like she just want to blame everything on Tyra. And that's a result of getting something too quick. Because sometimes when people don't work real hard for something, you know, and they done beat the pavement, and they been modeling since they was 12, running from shoot to shoot, knocking on doors in New York City, eating ramen noodles, really going through some real hard shit out there. Not a little ass reality show for about 6 or 8 weeks. You might get a little embarrassment here or there. They had to work their asses off just for Wilhelmina even to let them in the door. You think they gonna if they get in Wilhelmina and you don't work that damn hard, you think they gonna just be like, well, you know what? Yeah, well, Wilhelmina ain't calling me for no jobs, but I'm gonna just let it go. No, they ain't. No, them girls gonna be knocking on women. Hey, do you got something for me today? Do you got this and that? Are they gonna be trying to make something happen because they already have gotten used to going the hard route to get something? But when Tyra Banks laid it in your lap and said, okay, yes, this industry is still going to be harsh to you, but I'm giving you an opportunity and exposure. I'm forcing them to have to do something with you. Now, how you change that, how you make that happen is up to you. In hindsight, when I look at the show, could they have done better with training the girls and stuff like that? But this happens in all the shows like American Idol, all of them. They give you that contract, you get that $1 million contract if you singing, and you gotta do your best with it. It's no guarantee. And you jumped. Listen, people gonna not respect you because you didn't go through the process. So sometimes people so you're gonna have to act like a person that went through the process. You done in some ways, if back in the day, if you was Fantasia, think about Fantasia. I look at Fantasia's story. Fantasia was a single mother living in North Carolina, not a lot of opportunities, could not read at the time. She gets an opportunity. But what she had been doing is singing. She had a singing family. And I think their family had a quartet group, everything. So Fantasia had already been performing and perfecting her craft, but she gets an opportunity. Her life could have went a number of ways. Probably would have been very different if it wasn't for American Idol. Gets an opportunity and gets on American Idol. And even that first few years with Fantasia, you could see, even when she was on Oprah and that she was missing the color purple and all those things was happening, a little bit of that was because it had been given a little easy. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, and so she's having to fight through. She got a jump. She had a major jump. She wasn't beaten. Hey, she wasn't running around knocking on doors of the record company trying to let them hear her demo. Can you hear me today? Or begging a DJ to play her music or this and that. She didn't have that road or singing in clubs. She was just singing in church. And she happened to make American Idol and skip the line. You think they wanted to take Fantasia serious right off? She had to go through a brutal 6 to 8 weeks of American Idol to get a record contract when most people, it takes years to do that. And you don't think it was rough on them? They got criticized. Look, tonight you don't sound as good. This and that. A little small window versus years. And y'all want to complain? Well, look, they were so mean. Simon was so mean. No, because Simon is understanding that you are getting ready to get favor and jump the line. And he's got to prepare you for an industry that is rough. They can't give it all, make it all easy. Because you're not going to be prepared for the rough stuff on the other side. In some ways, Fantasia wasn't. And a lot of them American Idol winners weren't at some points because this wasn't something they just worked. It was something that they just some of them happened to just fall into. So, I'm just thinking, listen, I'm saying this is the age of unaccountability, of not saying, hey, you know what? This is an opportunity. I got favor being on this show. Yes, was it some kind of areas where they was trying to trick us and we knew it was a TV show and they catch us slipping, they talk about us eating too much, or they talk about this and that. But that was just a small little segment y'all got. Versus that industry do that every day. They eat people and chew them up every day. Plus they got underground hold rings allegedly. And at that time, Epstein probably running around that industry trying to get, you know what I'm saying? And you just had to go to straight away, then child, please. Just the unaccountability. Ain't nobody's fault. Everything's Tyra's fault. Tyra is the fake villain in all of this. Tyra, here's what I say to Tyra Banks. Does Tyra got some arrogance to her? Yes, because you can't be, in some senses, she got to be tough to do that industry like that. Is there things that Tyra could do better? Yes. She's human. But let me say this to that girl. Tyra is a bad girl because she set out to change an industry that she know is foul. Tyra can probably tell y'all some stories too. Know how deep and dark it is. But she said, I'm going to condense that down into 6 to 8 weeks, try to make some deals with a TV show, and then try to bring all different looking girls, all different types of girls, all different things into this thing. Now, yes, we have to have some industry standards because they're going to go on to work in that industry. But I want to give them an opportunity that they may not have otherwise gotten. Now, unless Tyra was running whole rings or something like that, I don't see no problem with that little shit y'all was talking about her getting up, her doing on television versus you going through the real industry with the real shit. Y'all complaining about that just is a lack of accountability in yourself. A lack of saying, you know what? Yeah, at the time, you know what? I didn't understand. Yes, there was some rough parts, and I didn't like it with, the show. But you know what? There's so much I could have done with it. There's so much I could have done. She gave me a head start, whether I like some of the situations we had to endure or not. Perhaps I went into the industry, I would have probably had more situations I would have had to endure. But Tyra gave me an opportunity to jump the line and to do with that, whether them people were going to be closed up to me or not. I was still in rooms that other women had not yet got to. That ain't nobody's fault. If it didn't happen, it is mostly if it didn't happen for you, what you really wanted to happen, it wasn't supposed to happen for you. And it's your fault. It's on you. Yes, Tyra could only create so much scenario, but she still got you in the door. You still a lot farther than the girl who was beating the pavement. America's Next Top Model, that one girl, it just didn't, it provided me. Let me see if I can find her. There's a little thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Let me see. And where I do see Tyra was wrong for this, in my personal opinion, was how she had to fire her people. She should have just caught that energy and just quit the show, let the show go at that point, because those people really made that show. So yeah, I just feel like that was a bad thing about how Nigel and the other two, the Jays, got treated. I didn't like that. Okay. But here's some.
I tortured myself over the decision. It did not come lightly. I didn't discuss it with anyone. Miss J, nobody knew.
J. Manuel, he keeps everything to his chest. He's very secretive. Very, very, very.
Okay, that's when he got fired. Secretive.
People have told
This
me
is her.
one season that she got a gap created in a girl's mouth. Girl, that is absolutely ridiculous. What?
I've actually apologized for the issue with Danny and what happened. That was between a rock and a hard place for me, because there were agents that would tell me she will not work with those teeth. It's just not going to happen. That's what they told me. And again, I could have just been quiet and let them handle it. But that's hindsight is 2020 for all of us. It just so happens that a lot of the things that are 2020 for me happened in front of the world.
Bull fucking shit. Me getting my gap closed is not opening any doors for me. You knew what you were doing for the show. You were making good for TV at my expense.
Girl, you was making good for TV at your own expense. See what I'm talking about? She can't take no accountability. Tyra gave her a choice. When she got up there, she said, you can go home or you can take this, go get that gap filled. Now, shit, you didn't have, she knew what she knew behind the scenes. See, what you didn't know with your young ass at that time was that behind the scenes, she got people in her ear telling her, ain't no agents gonna take her, even though she had another girl that they accepted a gap with. But the agencies behind the scenes was telling her, we're not going to do it. Tell her she got to get her gap filled. See, because she's still dealing with the industry, dumbasses. She still is dealing with the modeling industry. So you could have said no, but baby girl, you didn't have to say yes. You could have said, nah, I'm going back to Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'll take my chances in life, okay? But you decided to go get that gap filled. So don't be getting mad at Tyra, because Tyra is doing what the industry probably would have did worse to you. Tyra giving you, and you won it all. Didn't she win it all? Tyra, I don't even know why you
Today's
people have told me
she was apologizing to Danny. Danny to me gave off the most unaccountability. I understand you were sad about it, but you had an opportunity that nobody else. Eva is an indictment against you. What's her name? Who was the other girl? Takara. Winnie Harlow. Okay? Just say there were some decisions I decided not to make. But I appreciate the opportunity. Yes, looking back, I shouldn't have got my gap filled. But you know what? I did make that decision. That was on me. Tyra told me I could go home. I make that decision. Girl, you could have went home. I was so young at the time. Ain't no. We got to quit making Tyra. Tyra is not the villain in this. Some of these people don't understand the opportunity they had. Because her ass would have still been in Little Rock. Okay? And she said that she didn't want it. She said her brother told her that these auditions was going on for America's Next Top Model. And she was like, well, I don't really think they're real models. And her brother's like, we ain't got no money to send you to New York. You better go and take it. So you decided to take your brother's advice and do, because you knew it was an opportunity. Yes, do things happen in the midst of opportunities? Yes. But you always that's why they say name your price. Because you got to always the right to say no. Have some young people have accountability for yourself. If you have morals and values and things, and you say, I kind of knew at the time I shouldn't have did it. You know how many kind of knew at the time I shouldn't have did stuff I had when I was younger? Lots of them. Okay? But I can't blame anybody else for a decision I know that was bad. I have to say, you know what? Yes, I didn't have all the information. It could have been better. Maybe this person could have did this better, or maybe they could have. But what I do know is that the decision was ultimately up to me. And I didn't choose right. And then for this girl to go on and win it even made me mad.
I tortured myself over the decision. It did not come.
So a lot of this stuff, I just, I didn't understand making her the villain. I really didn't like it. Let's see, hold on.
People have told me one season that she got a gap created.
Yes,
I can't wait.
People have told me one.
Oh, and I think this is just let me see. And I think this is just people. This is just trying to make a lot of much ado about nothing, because people are trying to avoid the real talk, which is the real talks we should be having is about what created a show like America's Next Top Model to have those segments in them. The real talk about reality TV during that time, the real talk about reality TV now, the real talk about the industry, the modeling industry, and how the modeling industry still has a lot of those same standards, even though it's gotten a lot more flexible because of shows like Tyra Banks. So to make Tyra Banks this new villain is crazy. Listen, Z's, one of the things you could do right now is give yourself accountability for the decisions you make in life. And understand when somebody's giving you an opportunity, and when you get those opportunities, sometimes the road won't always be smooth. Sometimes, that's why you got to understand what the price is and your value system is. So when you're going into a hard industry where you know it's rough and tough, like the entertainment industry or modeling or the music business, you got to figure out your value system. I said this last week. I talked about how the entertainers in the entertainment industry, a lot of the musicians, a lot of the singers, I used to be like, oh, they getting cheated out there. That's so terrible. But when I look back at that time frame, a lot of them motherfuckers was unaccountable. A lot of artists were unaccountable. They didn't have any accountability towards their self and the industry they was in. They just took a lot of shit. To be famous. Some of them took a lot of shit so they could just drink and drug and do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And then they want to come 20 some years later talking about, we'll see, the industry cheated me. No, maybe you just fell for the okie doke temptations. It's one singer that I remember, I don't want to say no names, but y'all probably know who I'm talking about, who was drinking from the time she started in the business. And I knew when they had to push her ass on stage on the documentary, I saw them had to push her ass out there. She didn't want to, because she was so drunk. I knew, I said, they're going to kill her. Did you know why? Because, are they going to let her ass go? Because there was no accountability to oneself, that I need to be sober and sober-minded in this business that's full of sharks. I can't afford to check out. And if I do, it's going to be on me when I'm 6 feet under, or I lose my whole career. You gotta take accountability for self. I know this is the age where they don't want you to do that. I know this is the age where they tell you to find somebody else to blame you. Find some other thing. Well, see, they gave me the opportunity, but they didn't tell me I was gonna have to do. Did you ask questions about the opportunity? Did they give you the chance to do something? Okay, well, did you have the chance to go home? You chose not to. That's your choice. That's on you. Yes, a lot of things can be ugly and unfair, but let me tell you, when you end it with self, so that's what I feel like. We're in the age of this time of a lack of accountability, and it's so easy to look back at something like America's Next Top Model and try to make a Black woman who created, she didn't know what she was doing herself, and Tyra has taken some accountability. As far as I was concerned, she was saying, hey, I didn't do that. Looking back at that, some stuff I didn't think she even had to apologize. Danny's gap, I don't think she had to apologize for that. I think she was like she said, Danny didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes. Now you could take that gap or you could not. She gave her the choice. She didn't just say, you better go get this, you on the contract, you better go get this gap done. She didn't say that to her. She said, you can go home or get the gap done. And you chose to stay. And that ain't Tyra Banks' fault. That's your fault. That's on you. That's on you the reason you got your gap closed. I mean, we can't be blaming Tyra Banks. Did she put you in a hard situation? Yes. But if your value system was your gap, you could took your ass right back to Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all want to, but see, this is what y'all don't want to do nowadays. Y'all want to blame somebody else for your decision making. You want to blame somebody else for your bad decisions, your shit. And yes, people can lead you. You can have parenting that leads you to a road where it can cause you to make decisions. But in the end, when you get of age, your decisions is going to be on you at some point, because everybody gets an opportunity to think clearly and know the difference between right and wrong, unless there's some sort of mental, situation going on. Okay. So that's what I want to say about that. And shout out to Tyra Banks, because I think they're trying, Tyra, to make you a villain to distract from the real parts of the industry. It's easy to make Tyra Banks a villain and to focus on America's Next Top Model that actually changed the industry for the better. It's easy to focus on this little show that gave women a great opportunity to skip the line, to not have to go to Epstein Island, to not have to go to allegedly, or not have to go through a supermodel hook you up with billionaires so you can survive out there. But she gave you a few weeks. It talked about you. It talked about your weight a little bit, talked about your pictures. They made you do this, but they gave you several weeks of exposure that then Wilhelmina might not even seen your ass. Ford might not even seen your ass. And y'all want to sit and make her the villain? That's the industry trying to cloth itself. Y'all better get discernment. That's this modeling industry trying to stay the fucking same and make Tyra the villain. Tyra's not the villain. It's the industry behind it. Tyra changed that industry so that more people can get into it. But this is the industry that, like I said, produced the likenesses of Anna Wintour. Who y'all got a whole movie on called The Devil Wears Prada. Allegedly. And other people, elites in that industry, trying to gatekeep it. Tyra Banks did Tyra Banks do everything right? No, that's a part of learning. But did Tyra Banks do a thing that shifted that industry? Yes. And they're trying to cloth themselves and all the horrible things that go on in it by making Tyra the fake villain. Tyra is not the villain here. Tyra is actually the superhero who makes some mistakes. Made mistakes, especially according to with her staff and things like that. But Tyra, again, it's the age Tyra's coming along in. And you best believe, let me tell you something, that industry was going to be far more rougher on you, Danny, on you, the little girl from Kansas City, all that. They would have been far more rougher if you didn't get that little short window you got on Tyra Banks, a few weeks of talking shit to you, and you ready to break down. You wouldn't have been able to survive out there. They would have ate your ass alive. If you wouldn't have had the cover of Tyra. Well, the Tyra Banks show, it wasn't gonna do nothing for us. No way, no, it wasn't. That's not the point. The point is that you got to skip the line. Didn't nobody know who your ass was when you was in Arkansas? Didn't nobody know who your ass was when you was working at Walgreens in Kansas City? for them girls that was on there talking shit. The girl in Harlem, didn't nobody know who your ass was, even though she was beautiful. Didn't nobody know who your ass was? Okay? It was an opportunity. I don't care what they painted you with, what they made you look like. It was your choice to be on there. Yes, you should have known they was going to come after you, but you could have used it. You could have used it for something. You could have changed it. It's all about how you your attitude dealt with it. And a lot of what will happen in a lot of them women is they let that certain situations just make them feel, because they were branded a certain way on the show. They fell apart after that. Nowhere in the industry to be found. Okay? Because it was too much too soon, really. That's what I really believe. Tyra was giving you too much too soon. Okay? You didn't really beat the pavement for it. So it wasn't really to you, you could flip it off. She giving you a short window, 6 weeks, to get in where it takes people years to get in at. Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Shut the fuck up to complaining. Tyra is not a villain. Tyra, you are not a villain. Where you a villain is where there's some things you could have been done better. I definitely think you should have ended that show after Nigel and the other people, the Jays, were fired. I think that would have been a perfect ending for the show. You should say, hey, nah, that's my crew. I'm going to go on. I know you were still trying to work to change it. A lot of ego was probably there still, but it was a mistake to keep going. And listen, but I do believe you meant well in trying to build that show. And people don't understand all the things that go on behind the scenes. And that even the making of this show is in some ways to try to make you the villain to cover up the real villains. The real villains that create these ideas and these things. Tyra was just giving you a piece of that industry. And a lot of these girls' entitlement thought, okay, I'm on a television show. Yeah, I'm just going to drop through and be a star. No, she's just skipping you in the line. She's giving you a chance to go around that big, long line that takes years to go around and giving you a short window to get there. And you thought you was just going to come in there and smooth sailing. You weren't going to have to do nothing. Nah, baby, it's a price for everything. It's a price for everything. Name your price. If you're going to dance with sometimes the devil, some of y'all be dancing with the devil. So I don't feel sorry for nobody, okay? All right, I know this show going to be taken the wrong way, and some people going to be mad at me for saying Tyra is the fake villain. She's the fake villain that y'all using to cover up for a terrible industry that has done so much damage to the image of to real life images of women. And Z's and millennials, you're on here criticizing something that was in the early 2000s, late 90s, when today you motherfuckers is so, a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you is so influenced by Instagram models and shit. Y'all going to Brazil every fucking where and to get your everything, risk your life, getting your hips done, getting your booty, BBLs, getting all kinds of stuff. Ain't no way y'all fucking talking about Tyra Banks. Get the fuck out of here. I can't be talking about Tyra. It made me as a woman feel different. No, not in this age. Not in the Kardashian age. Y'all got to be kidding. Not in the age of the Instagram hoe. Y'all can't. I'm not going to do this. We're not going to do this. Seriously? Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do this, Z's? Are we gonna try to ask Nudie and be like, oh my God, look at, I just watched Tyra Banks on Hulu. Were you not seeing your social media? And the pressure it is to be a perfect size? The pressure it is to have a big butt and titties, and y'all so much that y'all would go to all these places and risk your life and get BBLs. You know how many influencers I done seen died on tables, going to places, going to get certain things done that they didn't. And that can happen to any of us. But I'm just saying, because I believe in some good plastic surgery. I'm not against plastic surgery. I plan on getting something done with it, but. Oh, yeah, I got, but because I plan on getting my breast, reduced. But listen, I mean, we cannot talk about the age of Tyra Banks and America's Next Top Model, and y'all be critical of that era and not look at your own era and the things that you have lifted up. Are we serious? Please, y'all much rougher than America's Next Top Model. Crazy. We got to think, people. We got to think. It is time, really. It really is. Some of the things out here, I'm scared that we creating a soft generation. You know what I'm saying? It's not that, yes, I love the idea that we're more talkative and we're more understanding about situations that we had back then, but we're not also giving grace to the time. We're not. Like when I tell people, it's very hard for people to understand when I tell people the crack era was really different. I said a 15-year-old in the crack era was a 20-year-old if he was living in the urban areas. People have a hard time with that, because let me tell you why. Because people have a hard time with the time. Back in the day, in the urban areas, and anybody could tell you this, growing up in the crack era, I used to go to school. It used to be so many people after school, so many older men after school in cars. It wasn't looked down upon at that time. Just a little bit, not a lot. It was still a lot of women, a lot of young girls was going with older dudes, older than they should have been, messing with, going with them, dating them. But that was a thing in the crack era. I ain't saying it was right, but I'm saying it was a thing. It was happening, and a lot of the girls was hustlers in the crack era. 15 in the crack era, some of them they was taking care of themselves by the time they was 15, 16, taking care of themselves, they sisters, they little sisters, because their mom was a crackhead. All kind of shit was happening in urban areas in that time. It was a different rough riding life. And at that time, in the 90s and stuff like that, in the 80s, the rap era was becoming bling bling on the TV and stuff like that. So certain girls was coming up with feelings of certain lifestyles and stuff like that. I used to even hear girls in school saying, we're gonna hustle them old niggas, all kind of stuff. Listen, I'm telling you, did I say it was right? No, but I'm saying it was a different age. And you can't look at that in the hindsight of your age, because you ain't seen nothing like that age. The crack era was something different. I say the crack bomb went off. It was crazy. It was made a lot of people old before their time. I mean, you had once beautiful neighborhoods suddenly overnight turn into where crackheads was walking around like zombies. It wasn't nothing to walk down the street and see a needle on the ground or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It was a different time and space. And you got to have some grace for the time. It's just like my grandma and them. Back in my grandma's day, my grandma was 90. Back in her day, she about to be 91. Praise, look at God, look at God, look at God, my boo-boo. About to be 91 on the 5th of August. Both my babies, my grandparents. I'm so blessed. Okay, they both doing well. But 91, she about to be 91. But back in her day, they would marry sometimes a 13 and a 14-year-old off to a 30-year-old. I say, well, that's child molestation. But a 13 or 14-year-old in my grandmother's time period was running a farm. We had to it took us a long time as a society to recognize, listen, these are child labor laws. Kids shouldn't be out here working farms and working long hours and stuff like that. But back in those days, listen, life expectancy too at that time was like 45 or 50. So by the time you 16, 17, you almost half you middle age. And we had to evolve as a society. So have some grace for a time that you can't understand fully. That was very different. I was like, dang, my grandma told me, yeah, my cousin married, she was 14. She married somebody that was 35. Because that was the time. Her cousin had been working the fields for about 4 years at that time. She didn't grow up like you and me with a childhood and Saturday morning cartoons. And she, by the time 14 hit at those daytime, they was mature. No, was there still some child in them? Yes, but they were living very different lifestyles. And by the time they get 56, by the time they get 45, 46, the lifespan was almost over. You get what I'm saying? It's not to like nowadays, like you got people living in their 90s, moving around, driving still, and everything. We've expanded our lifespan. Have some grace for the time periods and the evolution of how we evolved as humans. And how we know now we don't want a child to grow up so much at 14. A child, it's not a good idea for a child to be married at 14. Let them live their life. That's a part of evolution. Give Tyra some grace. But don't give that industry that's behind that shit no grace. They creating a false villain. So you won't turn around and look at them. You so busy looking at the time of America's Next Top Model that actually worked to change the industry, that only gave a few weeks of a little bitty here and there things, challenges. Nothing like the industry challenges where your ass might have been hold off. But I digress. Allegedly. You may have had to hold to get a photo shoot. Or where they was much rougher with them girls for years. I used to hear about models having just like that was just smoke, that hated to smoke, that didn't like smoke, but they smoked to stay skinny. Or like girls not going for like long periods of times without eating. Tyra Banks show only did that in a week or 4 weeks. Some girls wasn't eating. There's a whole industry that was behind that practiced that. Y'all looking at the wrong shit. Okay. All right. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk to y'all about tonight. Okay. Listen, y'all, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Sleep tight. Don't let, just enjoy enjoy your sleep. But I really wanted to come on and talk about that. And I wanted to shout out Tyra Banks because everybody is getting on her. But I really think, and I'm not saying that Tyra's perfect. I believe there's some problematic things there, but Tyra did something that was so unprecedented. And she really did change the industry and make it more flexible and make it have to bend to different women and different things. Even now, to me, though, when you look at the industry now, I'm seeing less Black American models than I used to see. Now, I think the last Black, unless I'm missing it, was the last Black supermodel? Like, was it Tyra Banks or something? Was she really a supermodel? I don't know. Because Tyra had more drama between, and her relationship. I'm saying my business. I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of Black American models. Now I'm seeing a lot of Black foreigners. And I even heard stories about that, about how they go to Southern African countries to get some of the dark-skinned models because they can pay them cheaply, and they bring them out of villages and stuff and try to see if they can make the cut. And if they can't, they send them back to the village. I mean, some harsh shit. I mean, some horrible shit about the modeling industry doing some dark, deep, dark shit. They can't do that to American models. They used to do that to American models. So, they bring they send your ass back. Like Tyra said, you can go back home. But now American models would have more, would know more better. Like, I'm not gonna, you can't go pluck them out of a village in Africa and they don't know no better. And this is the age of globalism, so it is this whole idea of trying to globalize a look and stuff like that, But I feel like there's a blackout of Black American models. That's what, in my opinion. I don't know. Also, yes, I put a video up of the Haitian young lady. It was a big thing. This happened last week. It was talking about dirty Black Americans. This Haitian young lady who came on a Black American podcast and proceeded to call Black Americans. I mean, I don't know what's going on out there. It's just a crazy. It's so stupid. I don't even want to discuss it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, really? But yet you here. your family here. We dirty Black Americans, but yet you sound like me. What? Oh, Lord Jesus, help us, Lord. Anyway, y'all can check out that podcast, okay? You guys, I am out. Have a good one. Remember, you can hit me up on the Carlotta Chatwood Show. You can hit me up on Twitter at CChatwood Show and Carlotta72. You can also hit me up on Instagram at Carly's with an S _Galaxy. And there is the link for Threads on there also. And you can hit me up on TikTok at Keisha Carlotta. Okay, I'm out. And remember, give Tyra some grace. Tyra did a fabulous job with America's Next Top Model. She went and Tyra did I didn't like Tyra's talk show, but to me, Tyra broke the industry with that talk show. Tyra she's a bad girl. Give her love, okay? All right. And I think she saved a lot of women from a lot of crap a doodle that could have been way worse. You know what I'm saying? Could have been way worse. Okay, you could have been, like Barbara Adler said, introducing some of Naomi's fitness. Oh, let me shut up. Allegedly. That's what y'all should be talking about, them Epstein files. I've been reading some of them. Jay-Z all up in the Epstein file. Child, listen, Jay-Z ain't been accused of nothing. But what they said about him is terrible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he been accused of something, but there's no proof of it. But what they said about him, I've been finding myself, I just was like, how hard must it have been when you're trying to come up at that time, you're trying to do something as a Black person, and you find yourself on the other end of the stick where you're not doing nothing for Black people, but you're problematic to Black people, and you're in something that you don't quite understand. Gentrifying whole neighborhoods and shit like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Telling people to stop kneeling when you're not an activist, all kind of shit. Telling people your presence is it means something. No, it don't. I mean, it's tough. I'm trying not to really go hard on Jay-Z, because I understand that time. I think a lot of people would have been tempted with some dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of entertainers have not been taught. And to me, it's been more a focus on the creativity side of the art. And there's not a lot of entertainers that get prepared to go into a business, and a business that's rough, and a business that can be abusive, and a business that can take you for a look. So a lot of entertainers are going in there with entertainment minds first, and They're not understanding the business side, the influential side of you, and how your influence can be used to do some wicked shit, can be used to do some wicked social engineering. Yvette Carnell just had a great show on this. Y'all should check it out. But yeah, man, it's I don't want to be why at the same time I it's terrible allegedly what these people have done, but at the same time also it's like, what would you have done? You know what I'm saying? If you're thinking you coming out the hood, I think, at some point we know more. I think Jay-Z knew more at the time. I mean, allegedly probably what he knew. I mean, I think at some point he knew that he wasn't a friend that owning lying about owning so much of the Brooklyn Nets. You own, like, when you only own so many percentage, and then using that to get black people out of Brooklyn. The whole Colin Kaepernick thing with we passed kneeling. What? It's just a lot of things that you just look back at and you just say, wow, did you really understand the gravity of what you were doing? And what the people that were putting money behind you really thought of you? Because in some of these Epstein files, you kind of see it when they write letters to Epstein. Did you really understand the gravity of who Harvey Weinstein is? I don't think everybody did at that time. Or Epstein himself, But then you do understand when you're in some foul shit. There's a part of y'all to understand when y'all in some foul. And like I said, a lot of entertainers were not taught about the business side and somewhat trying to keep an upstanding reputation in those industries, and not try to be where you're a partier, or you're doing this, or you're open to this, or you're open. It's just so hard. You know what I'm saying? I think so many people so many industry people have gotten caught up in those situations. Okay. It is what it is. All right. Somebody was asking me, did I see, what is it? What should I say? Maxwell's the picture. Maxwell's supposed to be executive directing for Netflix. Don't Ever Wonder. I think it wrapped up today, or wrapped up. Nia Long and Lorenz Tate said they wrapped up, and it's supposed to be it's supposed to be about like empty nesters, I guess, going through after their house. I guess their people. I don't know. I think that's what they said. Empty nesters. After the children have gone to college and stuff, I guess trying to rekindle love. So it's called Don't Ever Wonder. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, that should be coming out on Netflix soon. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. It sounds good. Lorenz Tate and Nia Long. Can you go wrong? I don't think so. I don't know. But Did Maxwell still put anything in for the cruise? Nope. They ain't see shit about that cruise, okay? Listen, I said if I was an artist on that cruise, I'd be looking at him strange. I'd be like, listen, I want my publicity. Shoot, I want people to know I was on the cruise. The hell? Ain't got no videos of me or nothing being on the cruise. But I digress. I always listen here. I said what I said. I said what I said, and I said what I said. All right. You guys, I'm out. Y'all have a good one, okay? I will see y'all sometime this week. I'll try to do another show, okay? How about? Bye-bye.